Americans that voted for Trump in 2016 but will not be voting for him in 2020. What changed your mind about him? Serious? I was honestly hoping for something different with him. I can understand being rough around the edges, but my expectation as someone that has run many businesses, he would want to streamline the government as much as possible, making it more efficient and smaller. While there has been some positive movement in that direction, there has been plenty of unneeded regulation added. In addition, federal spending is out of control, something that no private business owner should be okay with. There is more that I am disappointed in, but that's the big part. I can already hear the downvotes piling up. I didn't want Hillary to win, but the turning point for me was during the solar eclipse when he was in front of the White House and he was staring at the sun squinting. Not gonna lie, this is my favorite answer of the thread. It's funny, and at the same time I can absolutely believe someone seeing him do that and saying, "I've made a huge mistake." I cannot, in good faith, vote for anyone who says, "My great and unmatched wisdom," seriously on Twitter. Walking away from the Kurds did it for me. I know a former career military guy who did 2 years in Mosul and he voted for Trump the first time because he was furious at Obama and Clinton for pulling out of northern Iraq the first time. Last night he told me how furious he was at Trump for abandoning the Kurds and said, "You just don't abandon people who fought beside you like that." He is determined to see him voted out now. I was ready to shake up America with someone who wasn't in anyone else's political pockets. Turns out he is, but the pockets he is in isn't even in the USA. I'm pretty embarrassed about it, but honest because I definitely don't want to be seen as digging in my heels. Also, the whole handling of the Kurds recently was my "I'm out of this" moment. He is the pocket. The problem is the fact that his business first laws and regulations just keep big greedy corporations alive and not real businesses. What we really need to help our economy is someone who truly understands a life at the bottom. We need another peanut farmer president. Everyone forgets the power massive mega corporations can accumulate with lax regulations. They end up acting like many countries that can easily bully smaller players out of the markets. We are in a second Gilded Age and desperately need another Teddy Roosevelt to trust bust these bastards. We need to get to it soon before another Great Depression hits. A Great Depression will make things even worse. Big corporations survive those easier than small businesses. To sum it up, how he addresses people. He only ever talks like an entitled a-hole. His tweets, his speeches, etc. they're always just him praising himself or making it seem like he's more liked than he is. Edit. Some people were asking, why did I vote for him in the first place? The answer is, I never liked him. When he was chosen as the Republican nominee, I decided he would be better than Hillary. I did have a weird hope that maybe he'd be really good somehow. Like he'd shake things up in a good way. A few months in and I was like, nope, never mind. He sucks. That's because he is an entitled a-hole. I would say it was pretty well documented before he ever ran. I was raised Republican and even though I was not a big Trump fan, I thought his policies would be better than anything Hillary was running on. I went to school for political science and as I learned more about the political parties and their stances, I started to realize I stood more with Democratic views than Republicans. I followed the news as I studied and found that almost every headline that involved Trump made me furious. Not only was he in my opinion taking the wrong side in most situations, he was presenting himself in a way that presidents should never present themselves. It's clear Trump thinks he can do no wrong and can win any fight without true rhetoric, but with childish insults. Politics in my opinion have no place for childish insults and extreme partisanship, but instead should be a chance for the prevailing ideas to drive policy. No matter who the Democratic candidate is in 2020, they have my vote. I made the mistake of voting Trump in 2016 and will not make that mistake again. Bonus reason I won't vote for Trump. He is so pompous that he has admitted to his wrongdoings in the Ukraine impeachment scandal and clearly believes he has done no wrong. He has no regard for law and order, and as such has no regard for what is right for the American people. I voted for him while I was in the military, but the Christmas after the election, I went home to Kentucky. I was dating a woman back there said, I prayed to the good Lord to give us a true religious leader and he gave us Trump. I feel the world is now saved. But that wasn't the end of it. A few months down the road after we broke up and during the time Trump made it to where some citizens weren't allowed to travel to some Middle Eastern countries, she admitted that she would hoot an innocent Iraqi child just to save America. Then I noticed a lot of people there around that area were just like that and still are today. And now I see nothing but hate and bigotry coming from him, and I lost all respect for him and the people who follow him. I lost a lot of friends and family because of him. I live in El Paso, Texas, and there are 22 people dead because some stupid kid followed Trump's hateful comments. Honestly, it was my first election, and I was dumb. How dumb? I voted the way my dad did and then I justified it. I've since done independent research and found other candidates that have views more similar to my actual views and ones that I like that I never knew existed before. Which candidates do you find most align with your views now? Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders. Sanders is demonized by the right, just as bad as Hillary was. However, after actually hearing him speak about his views, and not from the very biased Republican media, I learned the truth. Yang has done several appearances on some podcasts I like. He's got an amazing viewpoint that I think will excite the youth, and he's promoting himself very well. I don't watch and or listen to the news with any regularity, so I appreciate him going around and talking about it in a way where I will hear him. I do my research on my own time. Don't worry, I'm informed as much as I can be, without being stressed out by a 24/7 news cycle. I like Yang the best, and he's doing well for himself, but in my heart and brain, I know that Sanders is way more likely to become the nominee than Yang, and I'm prepared to vote for him. Edit. My dream team is a Sanders president and a Yang VP. I started noticing a significant divide happening, which he was the start of, and I began actually doing my own research on politics to form my own opinion instead of just hearsay from my conservative co-workers. I never really realized how much of a douche he was either. I just thought it was all liberal propaganda. But turns out that's actually just conservative propaganda. The dude is ducking insane and pathetic and completely regret voting for him. I was part of the blue wave, and this will be the first time I've ever voted for a Democrat presidential candidate. I have the internet to thank for having so much info available. I never really realized how much of a douche he was either. This is what I will never understand. I knew he was a cartoon TV villain and con man when I was like 8 years old, when he was bragging about his money and going bankrupt and cheating on his wife in the 80s. It's completely transparent. He's never been anything but this. Are there really people who have just never observed anything he's said or done, at any point, during the last 30 years? I was 18 and didn't understand anything and was just listening to my conservative parents. Pretty much my only reason I voted for him was because Hillary bad. I still don't understand anything about politics, but I understand things a little more than I did when I was 18. At this point, I actually try to form my own opinion rather than having people tell me. Sounds like my younger brother. I remember when I asked him why he preferred Trump to Hillary, the only thing he could come up with was her emails. He couldn't even tell me what was in the emails, just that she had them and it meant she was bad. Thankfully, he had just turned 17 instead of 18. Next year will be his first vote. To be honest, I voted for him because I don't like Hillary and I honestly didn't know how bad he would be. I didn't expect anyone to take him or his policies seriously, and now it's a black stain on my conscience because he stands against almost all my beliefs and I helped him get in office. Curious here, what did you imagine that looking like? Did you think that when he shared opinions or passed laws, people would laugh like, oh, you, so silly, and somehow the laws wouldn't count? I imagined rational people preventing the laws with ease. Now I know that was dumb. I'm not trying to justify anything, but I had more faith in both people and the government 4 years ago. LOL. I graduated high school and went to college. Earth-shatteringly changed my views. I left the conservative media circle jerk and actually was able to see the full picture for the first time in my life. Not the cherry-picked statistics affluent repubs want you to see. Similar thing happened to me, 90% white middle class upper middle class town. Dad pumped me full of conservative media, Rush Limbaugh, Fox, etc. Moved out, talked to and worked with people of different races, backgrounds, struggles, with and without kids, and changed my view on everything while building empathy. I was hesitant to vote for him in the first place. It was a registered Republican in a closed primary swing state, FL. This was the first presidential campaign I could vote in. I was 17 in 2012. I voted for Marco Rubio in the primary. He dropped out of the race that night, and really liked John Kasich after. If I could do it all over again, I probably would have wasted and voted for Gary Johnson, as I'm personally more libertarian than anything else. My parents are Fox News every night people, and I took my mom to a Trump rally, leaving with a significantly more positive view of him after seeing him in public. No cameras, with thousands of supporters around him. I changed my mind pretty quickly after Trump started. I had genuine optimism that he would get a solid team around him and make improvements without companies in his back pocket. I didn't expect all the fraternization with other countries. His extreme lack of tact once he was in position. Like I said, optimistic, and just being a terrible representative of the nation. There are some good things like economy improvement, unemployment rates, and lower taxes for many, including myself. Those were the things I was voting for, and against Hillary, who I believed was as a criminal. Now I've watched Trump ruin his name forever, drag down so many marginalized people, and be a complete dunce. His disrespect for women, immigrants, and other politicians, especially once in office, is really why I'm prepared to vote him out this time around. I've changed my party affiliation to Democrat, so I'll have some tiny say in the primary, and because calling myself a Republican just feels like a lie now, I think I'm most interested in supporting Bernie, then Warren, and particularly looking forward to the day we don't have a two-party system anymore. TLDR. Didn't love him in 2016. I'm a clown for thinking it could go any other way than it has, and have personally shifted my views away from the Republican Party in the last 3 years. Mostly, he's an idiot and an ass. Pretty much right after that election, I went through a lot of life-changing personal growth. By the end of 2016, I was already regretting voting for him, and since that time, my views on the world have changed immensely. Now, I am confident in what I believe in. I have come to terms with the fact that I hold almost none of the values that I was brought up to hold, and that I am my own man that is entitled to his own opinions, and my worldview is only expanding because I've learned to allow it to. Me then, Christian, born, raised, current but doubting, conservative values, in the military, single, living in hometown. Me now, atheist, far more liberal values, done with the military, married to an immigrant, living in big city across the country. I am proud of my growth, and am secure in my mindset of always growing, and always expanding my previously narrow worldview. I'm proud of you too. I was thinking he might have a fresh view on things. Turns out, he was just an idiot. Oh well, idiots do provide a fresh view on things though, so we can't count on your vote in 2020. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more Reddit stories, posts, and comments.